maybe I'll go somewhere. Maybe I'll go somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe I'll go somewhere. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. It didn't start my live, so I'm gonna say again to everybody, hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. It was 80 degrees in Houston today.
Well,
Don't rub it.
It was 80 degrees. Something to be happy about.
just because y'all back to normal.
So, yes.
Right.
Man.
Shanae, I was saying I didn't realize it had been 5 years.
Yeah, it'll be I think 5 years in July.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I will be with my current job for 4 years in July.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
It took your live, right?
yeah,
Okay. Just making sure.
yeah, so I wonder why. Let me look on my other computer or figure this out because I want to be able to share this conversation because this love conversation is very important, especially with COVID-19. And especially with some of these catastrophes that are happening,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I
Indeed.
say catastrophes?
You did.
Yeah, they have been some catastrophes.
Catastrophe, epidemic, you know, whole lot going on.
Yeah. So February is my favorite month. Now I know everybody enjoys Christmas, and I enjoy Christmas. The only thing about Christmas is it's too commercial. So many people go broke trying to prove their love to other people, you know?
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
Not
I mean,
necessary.
yeah, it's not necessary. We shouldn't have to prove that we love a person because love is an action word, period.
Right.
It's an action word, but it's not a proving word, it's an action word. There's a difference in that. And we'll get to that when we get to the romantic relationship love. So, family love is something that, first of all, love is supposed to be easy. That's the first thing. Love is supposed to be easy. It's easy to love, and then it's not so easy, I guess, to love. Oh, there's Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly.
Dealing with different personalities.
Yeah, I had
Hey, Kim.
the past couple days, so yes.
Yeah, so love is easy, but it's hard. And there's Stacy. The gang is almost all here. I don't know whether
Hey, Stace.
you are on mute, Stacy.
I'm over here talking about, hey. What's up?
I don't know whether Candy got her test result back, whether she got cooties or whether she good or not.
Is it the Corona cooties? Not the Corona cooties.
Yeah. Well, she texted me the other week, Corona cooties.
That Corona cooties is no joke now.
Yeah.
It is still floating around town, girls.
Right. So we're talking about our first. Well, the topic is going to be love, and we're going to start with our first access point to love, which is family. Family, we expect love us the most or love us the best, because that's our first connection, right?
Hmm.
But many times, our first traumatic experience comes from family, the love of a family, the lack of love of a family, um, the misunderstanding of what love represents in a family. Let's ask our resident hypnotherapist. What do you have to say?
Girl, that's so loud. That's so what do you call it? Loaded.
Right.
Everything that just the whole first of all the concept of love is loaded, period. And because of how the definition is different for everyone, and
Mhm.
um you know but when you start talking about the love that starts within family, the reason why that's, in my opinion, is the most loaded love you can ever find is that that's an expectations that we have. It's an expected love. And
Right.
because we put such expectations, and sometimes it's really high on
Mhm.
that love that comes from family, my favorite saying is, it's the people you love the most that can hurt you the hardest.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because if you don't love someone, truly, it's very unlikely you'll be hurt by them. So I say that to say, when you're talking about love from the family,
Mhm.
I've experienced it to be one of the hardest to maneuver. It's confusing, um, and it comes with a lot of baggage. But that's just my opinion from what I've experienced. It's very complicated, and it's different yet similar for everybody. So there's a lot of people who have that complex love relationship in families from growing up, and then when they grow up with their spouses, because it carries,
Mhm.
the expectations carry, but so it's different, but it's similar because we're all, I think every single one of us can think of a time or a point where they were confused, or not feeling right about the love that's coming from their family. So that's a long-winded way of giving you my take on it, but it's just a complex subject and a complex situation.
So, what do you say? So let's do a round robin with this. See how everybody feels about the word love.
Wait, I have a question. Do anybody see Trinae's lips moving, or is it just me?
I wasn't paying attention because I'm moving around.
She's doing a drunk tranquil, what do you call them?
Ventriloquist.
What's that thing?
She's
Yes,
throwing
Yes.
yes,
she's
because
throwing
I
her
don't see her mouth.
voice.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
think you
there we
caught
go.
up now.
There we go.
Yeah. So, who wants to go next about their idea of love?
Nobody want to talk about love. It's so darn complex that no. See, that's what happens, Trinace. It's
It
such
is
a freaking
complex.
complex subject. Don't nobody want to talk about it.
But it is. It's real complex because, I mean, there's so many different entities, and depending on a lot of stuff, your expectancies come from how you were treated from childhood with certain relationships, and expectancies from people, and then you have your friendships. You love your friends. It's a really deep topic.
It's
But it
diverse.
shouldn't be. But it shouldn't be hard. You shouldn't have Lord. Love is not for like you don't have to force love. It's definitely easy, but it's definitely complex at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I heard, I think it was yesterday. I don't know what I was watching or if I was listening to the radio. Anyway, I heard this. Love is actually a choice. It's not an emotion because you can choose to love somebody. I mean, you or not love somebody. I mean, because you could be with somebody for years and years and years and not even love that person. You just with them out of, out of convenience or whatever that person does to you or does for you. But it's not like an emotion. It's a choice.
Hmm. I
So,
agree with
and I,
that.
I thought that was a profound thing. I don't know where I heard it. Okay, I said it myself. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
You say words from Kim.
I said it
Words from
myself.
Kim.
But no, it's funny that this topic that you're talking about this topic because I did hear it on the radio and I was like, that is the truth because I could be with somebody and you could actually be my family and I cannot stand you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
Look
a choice.
at Stacy.
It's a choice.
And I guess with saying that means that then you have the power to give it and to take it away.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree that love is a choice because biblically speaking, it does say it is requested, it is a requirement of love, and it doesn't say that it's an emotion. It's just like it's an action to show love, to give love. Everything that's connected to love is based on to do it. But to prove it is not a do.
Right.
Proving is not a do, it's intangible. But so many times, even within the family dynamics, we are consistently trying to prove I love you. I love you because I'm doing this. And but the other part of that, when they say that I'm loving you, I'm doing this, but because I love you, I'm doing this. I'm requiring you to do this in return for me because I gave you my love.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the conditions that I was watching a podcast, listening to a podcast recently, and it resonated with me when he said, there is no such thing as unconditional love.
Ah,
He said, every love comes with condition.
right.
And it is and good, bad, or indifferent. So it wasn't like, it doesn't have to be a bad condition or a good condition.
Hmm.
It's just
A
every
condition.
love
Yeah.
comes with some sort of agenda, some sort of condition. Even a love from a mother to a child, a parent to a child has conditions. And I'm a mom.
Like what?
I'm a
'Cause I'm
mom.
not agreeing. Like what?
Oh, no,
Give
no, no.
me an
You don't.
example.
We don't have to agree, but I'm a mom and I tell you this. Sometimes I find myself having conditions. And it's not that I don't love the person, but when you go around telling people that you need to do this versus this,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel that emotion or you feel some sort of way because they don't,
Mm-hmm.
every love has conditions. And when he said that, I had to think about that for a while. And like we've been running around here talking about unconditional love. I know the love I got from my mother was filled with conditions. Filled with conditions. And it wasn't until he said that then I recognized, oh, that's what that was. But that's because her love she got from her mother was filled with conditions. So it carried on. That's why it's such a complex thing. It's what we ask people for a lot of times. And if we don't get that, then we feel like they don't love us or it's not whole or something is not right. So, like I said, love is a complex, very complex topic.
I know I've told my son before, um, at a certain time when he might not have been doing something that I liked or whatnot, that I don't like you right now. I love you, but I don't like you right now. And I know my mother has had that conversation with me when I lost my mind when I was 19. I don't like you right now, but I love you. I do believe in unconditional love, though. I do.
Oh, I would like to say that I believe in unconditional love, but I think that when you have an unconditional level of love, you don't have a boundary, if that makes sense. That means that you kind of allow people to do whatever you want. But I'm gonna still love you. But no, I'm not gonna still love you, sir. I'm not gonna still love you, ma'am. That was wrong what you did. That's just my I could be wrong, but that's
So
how
you
I
said, Trinae, so you said you do believe in unconditional love, but what now?
I believe it, I believe in unconditional love with the
Hmm.
idea of it, but
Okay.
it's not reasonable. It's not
Okay.
reasonable because we all have to have boundaries, and if we don't have if we have a boundary, there is no such thing as unconditional love.
Correct. Correct. And so when you first said it, I was like, okay, I hear you, but your sentences were kind of like bouncing. So I'm like, wait a minute. Do you or don't you believe in it? So now I got you.
I
Okay.
believe in the idea of what it means, but I don't believe that that's true because I got conditions. You're not gonna be disrespecting me, and I'm gonna be cool with that. That because that doesn't even show me that you love me.
Or respect me. Like, so it that's definitely, yeah, no. Mm-mm. When she said that, I was like, okay, I do. It sounds good. It's like all that unconditional love, but everything. I do think there's boundaries because there's a whole lot of stuff you're not gonna do. I don't care how much I love you. You're not gonna do certain stuff. It's not gonna happen. So, and for every situation and every person is different. Love my kids to death, but they not gonna they not gonna bounce off the walls and do certain stuff. My husband love him, and everybody. So it has definitely, each relationship has its own boundaries and things that are and are not accepted. And I think that for every person, that's also different too. Some people take way more than others, and some people take way less. So
I don't.
everything I do,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just everybody has their own form of what those conditions are, but they definitely, everybody has some type of boundaries.
Yeah, I don't think saying that you believe in unconditional love, particularly for me, when you're talking about your children, means that they don't have rules. That's not what I'm saying at all. You know what I mean?
So what you saying, Rhonda?
I'm saying as a parent, any of my children, all of my children, I love them unconditionally. They don't have to do anything to get my love. My love is there for them. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
So, okay, so no matter what they do to you, because I mean, there's some kids out here that do some stuff. I'm not saying that those are your kids, but it's some
No,
kids out
okay,
here that do some stuff.
because I have some great kids.
Right, right, right. But I'm saying, if they did some of this bad stuff.
Of course, we're not talking about no abuse and none of this crazy stuff. That's not what I mean. But I mean, with children or with them being people, they're going to make mistakes in their lives, right? Whether I'm going to give you a perfect example. Um, if your child, let's just say, if my child committed a crime, right? That even if it was a hideous crime, I'm not going to say I'm not going to love my child.
Right.
Understand what he did. I don't have to like what he did. I don't even have to like him for doing it. But I'm not going to say I'm not going to love my child. That's what I mean by unconditional love. They don't have. There's nothing that they can do in their life that will make me not love them. They're my children. That's just how I feel about it.
Do you think that love and when it comes to family is the most abused?
Sure it is. Sure it is. And with the respect that people think they can get away with so much because they're a relative, right? And I had to learn that too because to me, family relationships are like important, right? And I do believe in mending fistings and forgiving and all of that kind of stuff. Definitely, it's essential, it's important, and I just think it's something that should be done. But however, I have come to realize that that's not always feasible for everyone. You understand what I'm saying? Because you have to consider, like Shatera was just saying, ain't nobody gonna keep being beat up on now for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't expect anybody to be disrespected, beat up on, abused, whatever, just constantly badgered. Anybody got time for that? Nobody wants to deal with all this negative energy, whether you're family or not.
So the reason why I started with family is because that's our first interaction of love. Our parents are our first superheroes. They are the ones who we see love. That's who we learn love. That's who we receive love from. And when the love that we are shown or not shown um, impacts us, our next access point for love is a friend.
Mm-hmm.
How do what are what's the best way to ask this? So with friendship, what is different with loving with a friendship than loving with your family? Kim, you've been quiet. What you got? Nothing.
It's the expectation. It's the expectation. I think that one of the reasons why the hurt is so painful when it comes from family is because of that word family. Like I've always heard people say, but we're blood, we're this, we're that. And so I think it's just the expectation that we look for, that we expect those people to be the people that um, nurture, love, be there, protect, all of those words. So I think the difference between family love and friendship love is an expectation that when we're family, it's an automatic love. And then with friendship and other outside relationship, we build it. But for my life and me personally, I've built some of the best relationships outside of family, that the love is so deep, right? And stronger than some of my family bonds, because of the expectations that I had. And then the family members' capes fell off. They weren't as superhero as we thought they were. And that came in some really heavy, ugly packages. So I really think the difference between the love you have with family and then the love you develop with friends and your, what I call extended family, once you become a part of that network, is just that we have this expectation that family is supposed to love us differently. We build love on the outside of a family.
Kim, what say you?
She said nothing.
Nothing? You got nothing? You just listening to us today.
I'm learning right now.
It's a darn complex freaking subject. That's why Kim sitting over there.
I was watching. And I get it confused. I don't know if it was Basketball Wives or if it was Love and Hip Hop. I get those confused. Anyway, but they were talking about kind of like this subject, talking about family, and particularly the fathers and absent fathers. And one of the comments was that if she had a father around, then she thinks that she would have learned how to love better, especially a male, right? Or even how to like give love. And she said that she would not have gone through life feeling unprotected. I thought that was a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's true.
Truth.
I
That's
said
a
that
lot
too.
of truth bomb right there, Rhonda.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, because I'm father. I shouldn't say I'm fatherless because I'm here. Because you know I got a father somewhere, but I did not have that. You know what I mean? And I do miss that. I honestly, that is one thing. If I could go back and change my life, I'd have a father figure, a good father figure, in my life. I really would. I mean, like growing up.
It makes a difference because remember how Trinace, you were saying that we learn how to love from that unit.
Yep.
It's true. I mean, and sometimes it's not even what they say or what we say. Like, you know, I'm a mom. I have a 11-year-old and a 19-year-old, and we're very close knit, just tight. My 19-year-old will come and he comes home at 10 o'clock. He's going to come home from work and he's going to be right here in this room, in my bedroom where I'm sitting right now. And he's going to come to tell me all about what happened at work. He's
And
probably,
don't text when he not, don't be worried about him if he not home by a certain time.
And he
yes, he's
too.
gonna be concerned about that and come in here with a huffy. I didn't come home exactly at 10:30. Why didn't you call me? Nobody cares about me. I could have been dead on the roadside. Blah 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 blah. But no, it's true. Trinace
I believe
experienced
it.
that.
I believe it.
She was on the phone with me when that happened.
I believe it.
But I say that to say I'm very careful about how I express my love to my husband and how I express my love openly. Not that I don't, but just how I do it because they have to learn from
They need,
us.
yes, they need to see that. Yes.
And they learn from us. And if we don't show them what it's supposed to look like, and of course none of us are perfect. So, you know,
Right.
sometimes I catch myself saying, okay, I don't want her to think that's how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want him to think that that's okay. And because I want them to be better loving human beings when they go out there in the world, everything I do, everything how I shape what I say, I am really intentional about that. And not
That's
perfect,
it.
but intentional. And so I say that to say, I didn't learn how to love from my family because what I saw, that was dysfunctional shit.
Gotcha.
But I saw that, and then as I got older I recognized that it was dysfunctional, and then I chose that I wanted to do it completely different. And that's what normally happens. We either stay in the dysfunction and we continue to do it and teach them how to love. We love dysfunctionally and then we teach our family or our kids how to love dysfunctionally, or we say heck to the no, I'm doing it different. So it really is. Go ahead,
So,
Rhonda. You
so
want to
what
say?
was your first experience? So, if like you saying your family had a dysfunction, so you didn't get it there. So, was it like being at school with your friends and then developing those friendships? Because you know what I mean.
You hit the nail on the head like you're some therapist. Listen,
Yeah.
I went to therapy when I was man, I think I was 40 and I had postpartum depression, and maybe 42 because I think I waited 40, and I went to therapy. And I was talking about my friends. I have some really cool friends, some close knit friends that I've had for years since I was in high school. And then some of us went to college together and in college. And I'm talking about these girls and I'm talking about these girls. And I'm just, everything I said to this therapist was about these ladies.
Okay.
And she looked at me and she said, "You recognize what you did?" And
You
I'm
made
like,
it family.
I said, "What did I do?" She said, "You created your family."
Yes,
So
amen. All right.
yes, you hit the nail on the head. So because the dysfunction was there, and I was like, okay, but I'm not going to repeat that dysfunction, then
That's
I
good.
decided to create my own thing. So you're right. It starts that young though. And we have to teach them. And then if we don't learn it ourselves, man, we got to find a way to turn that stuff around.
Now, all of you ladies on this phone, I'm gonna ask you a question. So, when it comes to friendships, relationships, love, Do you think that it's necessary to have a lot of friends? Kim said no, no, no. And yeah, I agree. Because I do think that some people feel they have to have a lot of friends in order to feel like they are inclusive. You know what I mean? Because maybe they have a lack or something's missing, or like Stacey was saying, they come from a dysfunction or whatnot. You know, I have the same friends like Stacey was saying since high school, grade school actually. A handful of us, and we're still best friends today. And of course, you go older, you get coworkers, and like Stacey and I bonded. You know what I mean? So you, as you get older, you might have some more friends that come in the group or whatnot. But the friends that I really have, my friends, I've had them for years.
Yes. Yes. And that's a family, an extended family that we've created.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Love is a complex. Don't let me come do a spoken word poem just off the top of my head about
Well,
how freaking
come on.
complex love is. I don't know what the heck you
We
want to
ready?
be on this place talking about love.
Shoot. We ready?
I don't have
Girl,
friends. They
there's
disappoint
love.
me.
What you say, Kim?
I say I don't need friends. They disappoint me.
Right there. There it is right there. It's that
And it's crazy because I really don't have a lot of friends. I mean, like for real, straight up. I don't. Like my sister is my friend, my sisters are my friends, but they're family. Outside of that, I don't have like people that I hang out with or talk to. Like, and I had a couple that, that we did core stuff with, but now it's just like we don't even talk to each other. And you know how they say, well, if you don't talk to each other, there's like this meme going around or whatever. We don't have to talk to each other every day to say that we're friends.
Right.
I kind of need that. So, would that bothers me because, like, girl, we used to be real tight. And now it's like, I got to text you. You don't text me, you don't call me or whatever. And like, I thought we was real cool.
But do you all
So,
agree?
but yeah, that bothers me.
But do you all agree that friendships can change though? That the
They do.
dynamic of the friendship can change. Not that the
Absolutely.
friendship dissipates, but just that the dynamic of the friendship changes. Like in my group of girls here in St. Louis, most of them are married. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or they have serious relationship. I mean, I'm in a relationship, but I mean, most of them are married. So once they became married, then the dynamic of our friendship changed because, they have a whole husband and a whole home, that they have to see to first. You know what I mean? So sometimes friends get busy, but I think you
Stacy.
have to
She
be
said a
intentional
whole husband. I'm
about the
sorry. Rhonda.
You said
She
a
said a
whole
whole husband.
a whole husband.
not a half
But
full.
you have to be intentional about the time that you want to take with your friends. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I would say so. I would say I don't have a lot of friends, but my friends are not just my regular friends. For me, when I say you my friend, you my family, because I don't take friendship just lightly
Yeah.
like that. So when there's something happens in a friendship for me, it's very hurtful because it's just like for me, it's family. But there are some things that I don't like for friends, family, or romantic relationships to do. Don't lie to me and don't disrespect my time. I don't like that. I can. Those are like that's like God has a sin. For me, that's a sin. For me, that's a sin. Don't lie to me because you don't have to lie to me.
Right.
And don't disrespect my time because we all get the same 24 hours of time.
Mm-hmm.
But don't waste my time waiting on you to make a decision about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I think that Relationships and friendships are just so complicated because we bring in all these different beliefs, all these different understanding of oneself, and all of this stuff. But for me, love to me starts with me, just me. And anybody I love, I know it's a reflection of how I love myself. And
I
so,
like that. Can you say that one more time? Can you say that one more time?
sure, Miss Rhonda.
Say it again.
What I'm saying is, love starts with me.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that I love is a reflection of how I love myself.
I like that.
Like
Write it
straight
down.
up. And the moments that I find myself not loving you, like straight up, even my husband, let's just say I love him. Love him. There is a love line that runs between these walls. Done. But even the times when I don't feel love, it's not because of him, it's because of me. It's
Mm.
always because, go ahead, Rhonda. What
Oh,
you
you
want?
got to break that down, honey.
Well, I'm about to break it all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna break it down because it's true. And I recognize that over time. Like, sometimes, we're so quick to blame the other person in the room.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, you're not doing this, and it's because you don't do this, and it's because you do this, why this? And
Mm.
it's so stinking easy to do that and not go look in the damn mirror and say, what changed between when you're my world and you're doing everything right to all of a sudden you're not. What freaking changed was my expectation,
Mm.
because what was already there is still there,
Yeah.
right? Straight up. So unless the person is like just doing craziness and the other factors that can come in, but whenever stuff like that, I start to feel anything like that, I literally stop and look in the mirror and ask myself some serious questions. Is it the other person or is it me? Because most of the times it's all them little thoughts in my head. It's me not feeling as radiant and badass as I normally feel. It's me
Uh-huh.
not feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's me, and then I project that on them, and all of a sudden they're the problem. So when I always say love is very complex, and love will always be there as long as I love myself, and because I reflect that.
Yeah. Now that I can definitely appreciate that. I like that what you said. And I know another thing that makes that comes to mind for me, and I'm not saying that women are what happened. Can y'all hear me?
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that women are the only group of people who do this, but a lot of times too in love and relationships, whether it's family, friends, or your mates, people back to expectations are waiting for a person to change,
Right.
right? Or they think that they can change a person or whatever. And a lot of times that when that change does not happen or they're tired of waiting, that can create conflict as well.
Yeah. Well, we can't change nobody but ourselves.
No, you cannot. What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get. You can change yourself.
That's
That's
right.
it.
That's
And
right.
the hardest part about this very complex subject is that people, one of the things I tell clients a lot, especially when I do hypnotherapy, and they come and they're not feeling lovable or feeling, and they feel a little not deserving, and their self-esteem is a little rocky or
Mm,
whatever. They think love's not available and all of this and all of that. And it's always because of something that was planted from a very young age.
mm-hmm.
And then they try to project that on everybody in the room. So
Okay.
you see what I'm saying? So it's very hard for us to look ourselves in the mirror. It's and just be honest. One of the things that we do a least of is being honest about ourselves, because it's hard. It's hard to be honest about ourselves, because we're looking at ourselves, blaming ourselves sometimes, and sometimes we deserve it. But it's easy to project it out to someone else. So I always tell them like this: if you start with you and just look at you and look at yourself and everything, if you want love and you want the love to be phenomenal, project it. Start with you and then project it out. And everything you project out is what you get back. If you do, you know what I'm saying? So when I think about love, I'm just like, listen, I love my husband to the degree that I love myself. I love my children to the degree I love myself. I can't love anybody past my love meter. There is no like, this is my meter, and then this, I love you up here. If I'm loving myself right here, that's all I can give you. Right? And then if I love myself up here, then you can get that too. And then listen to this, the moment I drop all the way down there, that's all you gonna get. So saying like, what the heck? Why are you getting all right? And I'm saying this now because I know this, but let me tell you, in my younger single days, that was me. That very thing I just said, until I learned that man don't love you. My mama ain't showing me the right level of love, sweetie pie. She don't have that level for you because she don't have it for herself. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's why I say love is a complex subject, because everybody looks for it externally, but it starts with us. Right. That's right.
Well, I mean, when you consider, the Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. When you take a deeper look at that was what Stacey just explained. You can't love anybody more than you love you. If you don't have a higher level or higher consciousness of the level of love you have for yourself, it makes it difficult for you to love others.
Yeah. What's Kim smiling about?
I don't know, but she chewing that gum.
Kim had that wine, honey.
On that gum, baby.
So
Kim had that wine and she's smacking on that gum.
Well, I had it muted so you couldn't hear the smacking.
Laughing at.
So, with this being said, as far as loving yourself and everything, does it go back to the choice of loving yourself? Does it go back to that there's a choice of loving as opposed to an emotion? You know what I'm saying? So you can choose to love yourself or hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because either way it's work.
Yes. Exactly.
That's
right.
a word right there.
That's
either way it's work.
Yeah,
it is. And you know what? Guess what we choose most of the time?
Not to work.
Not to
love.
Not to love.
We choose to take on all of those things. That's self-loathing, that's self-sabotage, that's self-doubt, that's self-hate. We choose all of that. And then guess what we do? This is the funniest part of it for me, because I did this. And while I'm taking on all these negative emotions, way back in the day when I was single, I've been married for almost 15 years now, so it's been a while. But I still remember it like it was yesterday because it was so painful. So while we are doing all that, right? And we're not loving ourselves and we're not feeling good about ourselves, and we're giving all of ourselves all of the negative stuff that we pulled from growing up, from what people said to us, blah, 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 blah. Then we go out there looking for a relationship because we're looking for someone
in pieces, honey. You just ain't broken. You broken in pieces.
Yes. Trying to glue yourself back together with somebody else caring about you.
Yeah.
We're like Humpty Dumpty that fell
yes.
off the wall, and we're out there looking for a relationship to make us feel whole and put ourselves together. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened. It happened momentarily for a moment, never sustained.
And I think we choose to put that self-loathing and self and everything, doubt and everything, because it's easier to do that as opposed to,
Putting in the
you
work.
know, putting
Yes.
in the work to love yourself and others.
Yes. Yes. Because if you put in the work to love yourself, you're gonna find a lot of hurt.
So
Yeah.
let's go back now that we're back into loving ourselves. This whole self-love, self-care movement.
I think it's a money-making sham. I'm serious because, and I say that because look at how much, even during COVID, people they were busy before COVID. They couldn't do anything. And, they always had to work or they was always doing something outside the house. And now all of a sudden, everybody's shutting in the house. You got time to spend with yourself. Oh, I'm going to start loving myself. I'm going to start taking baths. So look at,
Not taking
I mean, I'm
I get what you're
serious
saying.
because now
Yeah.
before I'm just going to take this 5-minute shower. Now I'm about to take this 10,
In and
15,
out.
20-minute bath. And now, and I think it's a money-making scheme in my opinion. And don't blame it on the wine. And, don't blame it on the wine. What I'm talking about.
I'm just wondering, why is it a movement though? Why is it a movement?
I
Okay.
think
that's
it's a
the part
movement
where-
because people are trying to make money off of it. Because they're trying.
But you don't think like the things that people do for self-care, etc., like is necessary? You think that it's all about the money?
I
You don't
think it's
feel better?
no.
You don't
I
feel
don't.
better?
Because now you having to spend this extra money that you don't have anyway because COVID got your ass sitting at home not working. But here you are going into more. I'm being funny about it, but I'm actually being serious because look at how many people are on, government assistance or are actually having, money from the government coming in. That's their pay now,
Right.
Now they got this extra money going to be spending on themselves.
Well, so I mean, I heard somebody say that their daughter-in-law went and got liposuction with they first refund. Like, yeah, got liposuction.
Okay.
But
With their stimulus,
self-love don't have to cost.
Yeah, with the stimulus.
they got a lot of stimulus.
They probably got about 5 kids.
I mean, seriously, to get enough for some lipo?
You can pay in installments. Get you some care credit.
So
Self-love
this
don't have to cost money.
So this is where this is the direction that I'm going with this. Women of color, because I know women of color, because I am her, I am she, you all are her. So this is my thing. As we were growing up and learning to love and not love ourselves, don't think too much of yourself, but think you good. Don't smile too much, but smile. All of that stuff that we were taught. The other part of that was to don't be selfish, or you are too selfish. So now we're in this era of self-love and self-care. And that, depending on how you're looking at it, can be on the cusp of selfishness, because self-love is not selfish. You don't have to say no to yourself, because you don't have to deny yourself the bits of happiness, the bits of eating cookies in the bed. That's self-love for me. The bits of the things that you enjoy. But when people tell you that you don't deserve whatever that is, they want you to make a decision based on what they want you to make a decision on, and you become selfish at that point When it turns into self-care is when you say, you can't manipulate me into doing that thing that you want to do because I don't really want to do that. Because there's so many times that we say yes to shit we don't want to do. Think about the yeses that we say, and then think about the no's that we say to stuff we really want to do because our concern is about what somebody else is going to feel about us being too much, us doing too much, or us caring about ourselves, looking at ourselves introspectively, than doing God knows what with you because that's what makes you happy. So that was the direction I was going with it. When Kim went to talk about I'm taking baths.
I don't think that self-care needs to cost money, but I also look at it like this. When I don't take care of myself and I don't set boundaries, I become a little resentful. And so if I'm going to give to you, I can't give to you out of an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
I have to fill mine up first. And I've been doing self-love, self-care before I could even identify it. Because I think way back. I mean, even in the times when I was running around trying to mend my brokenness, so to speak, right? There were still certain things that I used to, to center me without me understanding what I was doing. But the point is this. If I don't take care of me, if I don't know when to say no, if I don't set up the boundaries, if I get a little resentful that I'm having to rip and run. And so that's when you said it's a movement. I was like, when did it become a movement?
Because that's now the verbiage now. That's just like feminine energy and masculine energy are now key words, but nobody really, this class that I'm taking now has been the first time that somebody has really defined feminine energy and masculine energy at a level that makes sense. And it has little to do with putting on makeup.
Right.
It has little to do with wearing stiletto. It has little to do with any of that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've been a part of that. I've been a part of that self-love movement for a long time. Self-care.
So the other thing is, maintenance to yourself is not self-love. It's just maintenance. It's you investing some time and making sure
I don't know, Trinae, because everybody don't maintain very well.
So that's maintenance is not self-love. I don't think maintenance is a part of self-care. I just don't, because we should be getting your hair done, getting your nails done. That's maintenance. That ain't self-care.
It's self-care, Trinae. It's taking care of yourself.
That's an external thing, because for me, self-love is something internal.
Okay.
But
generally what's on the inside projects to the outside. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're not, you know what I'm saying, if you don't care, if you're not feeling good about yourself on the inside, you're not generally taking care of yourself on the outside.
So what are you saying? Because a person doesn't go get a manicure or don't polish their nails, they don't care nothing about themselves?
No, that's not what I'm
saying. So that's what I'm saying. Getting your hair done and getting your nails done, that's maintenance. That's external maintenance that somebody else needs, for somebody else benefit. For them to see you got yourself together, because my nails ain't done. And they ain't gonna be done probably until the dinner part.
That's the extra.
Some people, but some people, I understand what Rhonda's saying. Some people don't feel good on the inside if they don't have an appearance that makes them feel good. Like if you look at busted as all get out, chances are you feeling busted and all get out on the inside. But once you put your makeup on, or you get your, you do something to yourself, it's going to give you a little confidence, a little boost to say, yeah, I look good. And you're going to feel that way whenever you walking down the street.
Exactly.
So yeah, I see what she's saying.
But does that make you, I mean, does that really, that's just a cape, a cloak. It's it's just a visual. It's just like it's just like a package. It's just like you get a package for Christmas and you open it up and it's shit in a box.
Now you know you ain't ever got no shit in no box.
But you know what I'm saying. There are plenty of people. There are plenty of women that have this presentation, like, you know, they have this presentation, and then when you get to know them, you be like,
Okay.
But then that's something totally different. Then that's
Yes.
because they're trying to put up a facade that they're
Yes.
something that they actually are not.
Yes.
Right.
So I listened, and when she said that, I picked up the facade piece, the mask that we often wear sometimes. And a lot of us wear the mask because we want people to think we're okay on the inside. And those are for people who probably don't have a clue on how to start loving from the inside. So they feel like shit in a box, to your point, and because they feel like the shit in the box, they decide that, okay, and I don't paint my nails either, so you know, I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of self-love over here, but because they don't feel well, they go out and they do the extra stuff. And I had somebody that just told me that yesterday, that all this makeup and stuff that I wear, this exactly. So I had to listen to this a little bit to kind of get where it was going. But I remember yesterday the person said all the makeup and stuff that I wear is just a facade. It's just so people could think that I'm okay, but I'm not. Okay. So you're right. The self-love is an internal thing. Self-care has to start from inside. And I had to listen to all of the views for a minute, and then I remembered that person, my client, telling me that, because she's always to the T, but she's like, but that's not how I feel. So I get that now. I really do. But yeah, you do have to clean your ass. I mean,
you said it, it's out there. You do have to clean your ass in order to make it look good and help you to feel good.
That's right,
And you walking around looking like what's his name from Charlie Brown? Pigpen.
You know what? Y'all
you walk around looking like Pigpen, chances are you feeling like Pigpen.
Yeah. And look, it's funny because I'm getting my nails done Thursday. I'm just getting them polished.
I don't get mine done, y'all. Those days are over. I just don't. And listen, I didn't get my eyebrows done for a whole year. I had quarantine eyebrows until I needed to take pictures.
They nothing about no eyebrows. Now I had to draw mine on, honey.
And I had quarantine eyebrows, and I said I cannot take these pictures with bushy eyebrows. So I I put on my mask, and I went, and I came out, and I think I washed my whole body with what you call it, hand sanitizer. But
yeah,
I get it though. I get what you're saying though, Trinace. It makes a lot of sense because it's an internal. Everything we do, the love, the relationships, the self-love that you're paying $1,001 for, and it's a business. The movement of self-care that only God knows when self-care became a movement. I mean, all of that though, if you don't start from the inside, then it's
out your way.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It's not real.
Out your way.
You find that stuff.
I had one boo.
So we're going to finally move to the last part of love. We talked about family. We talked about friendship. And I love you all. Kim is, my sister. But, I love all of you all. That's why, what you shaking your head for? That's that wine talking again.
Kim's about to tell you something good about yourself, Trinace.
So now we're going to move on to romantic relationships. Yet another level of love that I have some strong opinions on, and I know we're going over our hour, but I want this to be
Now I need some wine.
Ding ding. Are we talking about ding ding this time? Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm sorry.
no, I don't know that that's the way that this is going to go. I'm just going to see, but I don't think about that this time.
You know, that was your conversation some weeks ago. So
Yeah, that was my post about Lionel Richie, 70, 30-year-old.
Yeah, does his ding ding still work?
So, I'm not in a relationship. That's what I am. So, let's go with the girls who got relationships. Shatera, she cut her camera off. She got a whole husband.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and he just left, honey. So I'm not bothered anymore. He was steady in here talking about, can everybody see him?
No.
Like somebody, no. I'm telling you.
What, can't nobody see William? Kim, you gotta do
William. You gotta do it.
William.
Nobody see him.
It's William. All right, go ahead, Trace.
So the direction we're taking with romantic love is you still kind of choose. You can choose that, but that romantic love is more of a. It's kind of not like a choice. That one is more like an emotion, I think. The romantic type of love.
I don't know.
I
think it's a mix of both. I think it's a mix of both. Because it's me, Kim.
Oh.
I think it's a mix of both because you can choose to be in love with somebody. You can be in, like I said before, you can be in a relationship with somebody for years and you can be in love with them or not. You can work at it or not. But once sex is involved with this person, you become emotionally attached to this person.
Right.
So you can love what they're doing for you, but not be in love with them. So I think it's a combination of both.
That's that soul tie, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a whole different conversation.
Tara.
Huh?
How long you been married?
You better be glad William is not there to find to know that you don't remember.
He probably don't remember.
I think it's been 6 years.
That's what I think too.
And what about you, Stacy?
She said almost 15.
Okay. That's what's up. Okay, so
Kim, how long you been married?
Kim?
11.
Okay. See, Kim, I didn't know you was married.
Yeah, because the husband is overseas. So
okay.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all can teach us some stuff.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
We've moved into romantic love.
Okay, I heard that, and I heard people saying how long they've been married.
Well, that's the gist of it. That we haven't gone any further.
Okay.
We hadn't gone deep in into
And I was just saying that it's a combination of, you know, wanting to be in love with that person as well as a choice as well as an emotional aspect, because you can choose to be with that person, be in love with them or whatever, but then once sex is involved, then that creates an emotional tie. And like Shatera said, that's that soul tie, honey.
I've been married for 14 years, and I don't know. I think that if we look at it, the physical, there's just different pieces to it, in my opinion. But for me, what keeps me going and just and yeah, there are conditions. I that's how I feel. And not that I will stop loving him, but I still ask for things that I think is probably sometimes ridiculous to even when we require people to be a certain way and that's not who they really are. And we're trying to see if we can shape that to be this, that's conditions. It
So
doesn't.
I just had a conversation like this, like during my lunchtime. This person and has person and this person and his person are not together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And my thought was, you can try to hold on to a person and hope that they're changed, but change can go back. To me, change can go back. Growth is different from change because growth is an organic. Once you start growing, things organically happen. Your change is organic because you're growing. That's just like a plant. When you put the seed out, it grows and it changes that way. You can't expect that you got wait on a person to change if you don't see them developing nothing or growing anything or reading any books or taking some classes. You can't expect that a person is going to change without trying to get some type of development into whatever it is they feel like they need to develop. That's a sham.
Sometimes they don't want to change.
Because
Sometimes
because
they just
they find the way they are because
they found it.
they've been getting along good with whoever else that they've been getting
Yes.
along with. And if you don't like it, then somebody else will.
And you know what? I think damn Skippy right. I don't think we should try to change people. I believe that we accept these people for who they are. And if we want and we can tolerate and we can deal and we can love despite, regardless, then that's it. If we can't, then we can't. Now there's some really jacked up stuff that I wouldn't want to accept. And so then I wouldn't have married that person if that's the person. Because once I learned that, because a lot of people think that they can change people and you know, women to men and men to women, but you can't. And you can't force people to change who they are either. They will resent you.
Yeah.
You can. And that's how romantic relationships go sour. Right there.
So I had this conversation that I was having. I don't want to say who it was, but the conversation went like, do you think that people could get married like right away after meeting? Yeah, they can.
Mm-hmm. It happened.
They can. I mean, my friend Nikki, her and her husband were together 6 months and they got married. And they were married 24 years before he died.
Yeah.
Just based off of 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen, but this is kind of my thing. You place all of this time. I have to know you better. I have to know you, but hell, do you know you? Why you trying to figure out if you trying to know somebody else before you gonna make a decision? I'm gonna be with you 100 years before I decide I'm gonna marry you. F no, we ain't about to be together 100 years before you decide. We're not about to play that game. Right. I think a reasonable amount of time is a reasonable amount of time. But I've heard of people that get married in 3 weeks and they stay married forever. I've heard of people that spend a lot of time getting to know each other 10 years and get married and then still end up getting divorced within 2 years. So it just kind of depends on the people
Yeah.
and their investment, what their end game is. Because to me, marriage is not a project. Marriage is not us having kids and us raising kids, because once the kids are gone, then what, right? Marriage is not like that. So you have to find, I don't know, I'm just assuming this is my ideal of marriage. This is my ideal. So you have, to me, you have to have some goals that you are setting to connect, some commonalities that outside of a project. I want to have some kids. Well, guess what? I'm 50. I ain't having no kids. You got to have some things that you want to do together that's going to be the glue in your relationship, so that when you say, oh, I can't stand him, I want a divorce, but the goal is this, and let's work through whatever this is so that we can get to our goal, and then to our next goal, and to our next goal. Because you can't have a relationship out for projects.
Well,
Well,
you
I go
friend,
ahead,
first of
Ron.
all. You hear me?
Yeah.
They better be your friend, first of all. That's how you're gonna get through a lot of stuff. Cause like you said, when you're not lovey dovey anymore and all this,
When you didn't get no work no more.
right? Yeah, that. You better be friends. You're gonna have a problem.
I also believe that it's about you having your thing, I have my thing,
Yeah,
and we meet in the middle.
yeah,
Because if you are depending on me for your thing, and if I depend on you for your thing, we're going to run into a lot of disappointments,
conflict. Yeah,
right? And so whenever I see and then you have to have an understanding. I think many weeks ago there was something that was said about two people not arguing, and people thought that was weird. But then I'd been married for my husband for almost 14 years, and I we don't argue. We have disagreements, and we disagree, but you ain't never gonna hear us arguing. Just don't happen. And it's
that's good.
been 14 years. So I think it's just having that understanding, because I remember us saying in the very beginning, me saying, if we gonna argue and that ba ba ba, then that's not my style. So we don't do that, right? So it's just having an agreement and knowing who each person really is. You do your thing, I do my thing, and we have our thing. But I'm not changing who I am, and I will never expect him to change who he is. And that's why we still married to this day. On top of that, we got two kids that there's no way that when you really look at those two children, and they would pull us together. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we roll. I don't know about anybody else, but I see old and gray in our future.
That's a good thing.
See, I told y'all love is a complex subject. Why y'all quiet?
I was waiting on the next person.
So I just think, I mean, my ideal of love is that love is not complex. I think that people make love complex, because when you consider we are all different, we are not the same. It would be easier if we had the same thought, the same experience, the same hair, the same skin color. If everything was exactly the same, then love would be easy. But the fact is, we are not the same, and because we're not the same, and our experience is not the same, and our thoughts are not the same, Um, that's the part. That's the salt in the thing that makes love, gives love the seasoning or the flavor, or it's too salty or it's too spicy. That's what gives love the flavor, or gives you a distaste for love.
Okay.
That's just my thought. I have no husband, and at this point, I have no boo.
Yet.
I didn't say I'm not gonna get one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, just yet.
So I looked up the definition of love.
What is that?
An intense, this is Mr. Google, an intense feeling of deep affection. An intense feeling of deep affection.
So I don't know that I care for that. Just like I didn't care for Webster's dictionary
Wait.
meaning of woman.
Honey,
Um,
I'm afraid to say if that's the definition, I'm in trouble.
An
yeah.
intense feeling of deep affection. But the reason why I looked up the definition, and there's another one down at the bottom, says a feeling of strong, constant affection for a person, attraction that includes
But Kim said,
strong affection felt by people who have romantic relationships, a person who love in a romantic way, la 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 la. But when, let me see, I see something else. A profoundly tender, passionate affection for another person. So there's all these different
affection.
definitions. But Kim said, and when she said it, I agreed with it, and I didn't say it out aloud. She said it's not an emotion, it's a thing. And Google called it a feeling, which is, you're right. A feeling is not an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And something triggers love. An emotion triggers love, and
Mm-hmm.
love is the as a result of the
That.
emotion. So
It's
love is
it's
the
the reaction.
feeling.
It's the reaction to
It's the
whatever
reaction
emotion.
to a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean, to an emotion. So
Motion. Right.
love is the reaction to the emotion. And that's when you said that, it resonated. And I was like, she's so right. And I was trying to wrap my mind around why it is not an emotion. And it wasn't until I looked at the definition, and it said it's an intense feeling of affection. Feelings normally come from a triggered emotion. And go ahead, baby.
So I wanted you to pause for a minute and then explain the difference between the feeling and emotion.
So an emotion, Trinace is smiling because me and her did a whole podcast on this a few months back. An emotion is the thing that, it's like the subconscious innate thing within you, something that you carry. It's the belief. It's the it's kind of like, let me see how I could put it. So it's, we have a cause and effect. The emotion is the cause.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's why how we love is so different, because how you love and how you receive love or accept love comes from that emotion that's deep within. It's normally something that you learned. It's normally something that maybe that's the belief you grew up in. It could be a cultural belief on what love is, and or something could have happened to you that made you love this way or not that way, and it's buried deep within. Your emotions are buried deep within you.
Okay.
And then when something triggers that emotion, then you have a feeling. So when I run into my husband that was this gentle soul that actually reminded me of my loving, committed grandfather, that emotion triggered a feeling of love. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's it. So when you said that came out, I had it up in my mind just spinning around. I'm like, she said that, and it means something really intense to me. And when I looked at this, it's a feeling. So if love's a feeling, the way we love will always be different. And the way, that's why relationships can also be complex, because I love differently than my husband loves. You love differently than, your spouse loves. And that's where we come up with these challenges sometimes, because it's deep. The way I love is coming from a place deep within. The way the other person love is coming from a different place. And girls, ladies, and gentlemen out there in the world, we got to meet somewhere in the middle. That's how it gets complicated.
Right.
So I want to talk about what I call the struggle love.
So what's the struggle of?
So a struggle love is me and dude in a relationship, and I'm a ride or die because I gotta prove that I love him, and it's a struggle because he not really he not really something I want, but I gotta prove that I love him, and I gotta prove that I can be in a relationship. And it's so much that I'm struggling within myself. So it's a struggle love because I'm not no ride or die. Because where we going? Why I gotta die?
Say why I gotta die.
Why I gotta prove that I love you? Um, all of that. So all of that is for me. That's like struggle love, and I don't want no parts of that. I'm 50. I don't want none of that. So
Well, if it's not somebody you want to be with, why you?
so so no. So why you don't really know at the beginning that this is not somebody you don't want to be with. It's something that you learn, but because you have been invested in this relationship, you want some people. Well, women, not me so much, but women. Um, we maintain a connection to a relationship so that we can have a relationship, and we struggling the whole time proving that we love this person that we don't really love because we don't really love ourselves enough to let go.
You just answered your own question. You know how you answered it? When you said, because we don't even love ourselves enough to let go.
I mean,
That's
I
it.
wasn't trying to go that far. I was just trying to kind of
No,
explain it
no, no. But
so that I can get some input of what you guys thought about that image of maintaining a relationship that you know you shouldn't be a part of anymore and struggling to stay in something that you know is not good for you or it's not right for you because a lot of women put up with it.
I just have one word: self-worth.
Yeah, I think a lot of women do it just because they don't love them. They're not in love with themselves. And until you are completely, you know who you are, you have identified your needs and your wants and things that, you have your quote unquote list. Like, but there's so many people out here that are willing to just take whatever they can so they can have a piece of a man instead of a whole husband, like Rhonda said. But it's so many people out here that's willing to take a piece of a a boy, really, because these guys out here that's doing this stuff, they haven't even, they don't know who they are either. So but there's so many women out here just trying to heal these young boys that's in grown men bodies, and they don't love themselves, and the people they dealing with don't love themselves either, so it's a vicious cycle.
I know I know a couple, although they were still married to the whole process. Because I was going to say at first, for me, I think I'm going to be definitely a ride or die for my husband. I'm not saying being abused and all that kind of stuff, but relationships go through changes. People go through a period of time where they may not be vibing. That's in any kind of relationship. But I know a couple who had that time period, and it seemed like it was a long time period where they were just really on the brink of divorce. There was some infidelity involved on both sides. They were not getting along. They went through that time period for a very long time, but they got through it, right? And now they're living their best life in their marriage, right? And to that point, I don't think that had anything to do with necessarily not having self worth or whatnot. To me, it just had to do with their commitment and being able to come back to the commitment that they made to each other in the first place.
So ride or die basically means something different for you.
I ain't riding or die for no any damn body. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, no.
So I saw both. I heard something in Rhonda's statement that I agree with, and
I agree. So
I
that's why,
think
that's
it's
why I said is it different. That's why I said is it different because I can get with that. So that's why I
yeah.
said your
I
definition of ride or die is different.
I heard something in there about, because that part, sometimes it's that growth period for both people. So
Mm-hmm.
what, as I was listening to you, and as you were saying the story and telling the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still heard self-worth. I still heard some self things going on in there. But
Mm-hmm.
apparently, when they fixed that, whomever, each other or one of them or whatever, then
Mm-hmm.
it was able to come back to where it originally started. So that's kind of cool, though, because then that commitment was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not committed to no. I'm not about to be struggling with you at no level, and you ain't doing shit right. I'm just not. I'm just not in it to win it, and you ain't doing nothing. Um, the fact is, I'm a queen, and I'm not trying to look for no prince. You gotta have your stuff together because we not for me, and whomever sees this, they can judge this if they want to. I am not helping you put yourself together at 50. I'm not. That at 20, we good, but at 50, no, no, sir.
I'm driving the getaway car. You go ahead, baby. You rob that bank, and I'm driving that getaway car. No, I'm kidding. But no, to be honest, it's my question is: do they your couple friend?
Mm-hmm.
Do they do? Where's that level of trust though? Because they both had infidelity.
Yeah.
I mean, where is that level of trust now though?
That took some work. That's what I'm saying. They had a long period of time where they just was not. It took a lot of work, but it had to take work on both their parts. You understand what I'm saying? To that get to that level of trust. So whatever it took for her to be comfortable with what he was saying to her and for her to believe it, that's what he had to do for a long time, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So yeah, it took a lot of work.
So I'm gonna ask you married ladies this because you know my perspective is my perspective. So, do you think it's harder to maintain a relationship when other people know the ins and outs or the ups and the downs and the downs of your relationship? Is that will that make you um, could disconnect more quickly from that relationship than work it out if people knew based on perception? And the example I'm going to give is I belong to this sugar group, and somebody said that Charlie needs to go back to her husband because he was a good guy and he had an infidelity, blah 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 blah. So my thought was he probably would have stayed in the relationship and worked it out had it not been such an embarrassment in the public eye. Because when people see stuff that happened, it makes us say, "No, I'm not about to maintain a connection." Do you agree that we build what we do in circumstances like that. If your husband or your significant other cheated on you, if people knew, would you maintain the relationship, or would you just disconnect because you were embarrassed that that happened, or embarrassed that other people know?
It would, in my opinion, it really would depend on how I felt on the inside. I wouldn't care how anybody else on the outside was looking, because at the end of the day, that's my husband. And
Right.
if I choose that I want to continue to put up with whatever, or we work it out or whatever, that's on us.
Right.
I mean, whatever you say to me, well, Kim, you shouldn't be with him because he did this, and that. At the end of the day, is my decision to stay with him or not.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I wouldn't really know how to ever answer that because I don't talk about my marriage with
Right.
not a nobody. I don't, not my mama, not my daddy, not my uncle, not my cousin, not a dog, not a cat.
Sugar.
And that's
I
the
would
best
not in
thing.
a I would not in the house. I would
I
not
would
with a
not in the
mouse.
house. I would not in the boat. I would not to the dirt.
You will
Not
not
in.
And
eat
that's the
ham.
best.
You
Not
will not eat sandwiches and ham. You will not eat a salmon ham.
I will not eat
not
a. Nope. None of that.
not
The
not
best.
in a fox with socks.
Not listen, listen, listen. I could do a rhyme. No, ma'am. No, Sam. No how. No way. You know why? I'll tell you why.
Opinion.
Can't nobody tell you what to do with your marriage.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
The other thing I think is, I think that we should be cautious with who we provide intimate information with,
Yeah, because
because
it could be used against you.
Absolutely.
not only that, but um, oh, what happened? Not only that, but when you share intimate information like that, sometimes you work things out. You work things out,
Hmm.
and other people are still angry about y'all stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people will carry that grudge for you when your grudge, you don't have a grudge. You
Yeah,
you
you done with it.
you you've been done. You've been done. But unless you're getting professional counseling or professional help for something within your marriage, I don't recommend that. I don't recommend you go talking about your stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody needs an outlet. And you must have someone who you can confide in for things, but certain details you just don't, because it's sometimes it's just for the moment and how you're feeling. And
Right,
when you move past that, then they're still
They still
stuck
mad.
on it. They're
Yes.
still stuck on it. So
Protect your sisters. Your sisters do that for you. You heard?
listen, or your friends, your good friends, and they
Yeah.
just stuck on it. And I'm like, why are you still there? I
Still
moved
mad.
on. So
Yeah.
no, but let's say I did. It really wouldn't matter to me what you think. It's what I know. So it's
right,
never about what you think. It's about what I know.
right.
And another thing that gives a relationship a disservice is if the only time that you're talking to your friend or whoever about them is something bad.
Yes.
So they
Hmm.
hear
Yes.
stuff. That's really bad.
Oh yeah.
And
So
with that, I'm gonna call it a night
we
because
talked.
it's
Well,
ten thirty seven.
it's about to be a wrap here too. We talked about love as a family. We talked about friendship love. We talked about romantic love. Um, I thank you for sharing, everybody for sharing their wisdom on this. This is going to be good for somebody who doesn't have somebody that they can hold these conversations with, or they don't feel safe to hold these conversations with. You ladies did a good job sharing, expressing, and explaining and laughing about love, the easy, complicated thing. So I'll end next week. We'll be on, and this is only because we missed last week due to the storm. So with that, I'm going to end like I always do. I love you. Be authentic, and thank you for letting me help you be great.
See you.
Bye, guys.
Rest well.
You too.